And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're located in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue. That's right inside the Dora district, so you can go from bar to bar with your drinks or just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall. They have the Direct TV sports package, so they have all the games. And, of course, Cincinnati sports always on the video wall. Brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines, and ice-cold Cincy Light in 32.8 degree frosted glasses. All right, Aaron, let's get this show on the road. We have done a couple position previews, but now that we're like steamrolling towards the season, like 2.5 weeks, less than 3 weeks from the start of camp. I don't have an exact start date, but less than 3 weeks from the start of camp. So the summer of content is almost coming to a close. It'll be nice to have football to talk, like actual sports to talk about again, and not like our take on sports that are going to happen 3 months from now.
Or our take on a Ross Dellinger article.
Yeah. You know, if Justin would step his game up, then we could just do our take on a Justin Williams article. Shots fired. We are going to get back into the groove of the player position conversation, and we're going to jump to what might be the strongest position group on the team, Aaron. If you're looking for a written analysis of the linebacker position, Keegan Nickerson has that on BearcatJournal.com, including quotes from Court Braswell, who coaches the linebacker group. So you can find that on the front page and on the message board.
All the way back on June 27th, if you're looking for that article.
Yeah. So let's get into it, Aaron. It's a position that did not have a lot of depth when Scott Satterfield and his staff took over. It was okay at the top, but it wasn't great at the top. It was okay. They kind of patchworked it together the first year, kind of held together with duct tape in the second year. But it really feels like going into year 3 that there's not only quality at the linebacker position, but there's quality through a couple different levels of the depth chart.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about this room, you have some staple pieces now that have been here for quite some time. Notably, Jack Dingle and Jonathan Thompson have been here probably longer than anybody on this roster as far as linebackers go. And Jake Goldie entering his second season now. So there's continuity building in this room, which, I mean, when you look around some of these rooms, the wide receiver room completely revamped. Tawi Walker at the top of the running back room, a little bit revamped there. There's just a lot of rebuild in different rooms across this team, and linebacker is kind of an anchor as far as continuity goes for the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, the old head, Jack Dingle, who was here. I think Fickle brought him in his first recruiting class. It feels like I know that part of that also is Jacob Dingle, and then Jack Dingle after Jacob Dingle. So you had.
I was going to say he's been here long enough to see his brother retire. So
yeah. But you've got him. You've got Jonathan Thompson, who's another guy, one of the few left that were here and established before this coaching staff got here. And then you've got Whedon and Coleman and this next group of guys kind of pushing their way up the roster. I think it's an incredibly exciting position group to see just exactly how it shakes out. And the thing that kind of makes me feel best about this defense is when those, Tyson Vite with his obvious ties to Iowa State, when those defenses were at their best, the linebackers were everywhere making plays. And it's starting to feel like this Cincinnati roster is getting there a little closer to that mold.
Yeah, you even see this spring portal, they bring in a guy, Darrell Gipson, who is a young kid. I believe he's a sophomore going into his sophomore season.
Yeah.
So he was it Idaho State? Was that where he came from?
Yeah, Idaho State.
So he comes in via Idaho State, and he's a guy that they're not looking necessarily for giant contributions from this season, but they're again looking to build for that future that you're talking about when you talk about guys like Monte Whedon and Simeon Coleman. So yeah, they're doing this room especially the way that I think that if you ask any coach across the country, you would want to have a couple old heads, a star potentially in the making, as you have in Jake Goldie, and then some guys bringing up the rear and guys that should be able to have the torch passed to them when all said and done with the guys at the top.
I'm fascinated to see the progression of Jake Goldie in year 2, because that's a guy that came from, a much smaller level of football before he got to Cincinnati. I think it took obviously a little bit of time for him to adjust last year, and he was okay early in the season, but I think we had heard so much about him and seen so much of his ability in camp that, it was like, okay, when are we going to see it click for him? And then it started to click. And then I thought he played really well for a couple weeks, and then he got kind of banged up. So I'd like to, just kind of get a better feel for what I think, what's the ceiling for Jake Goldie? Is this a 100 tackle guy? Is this a guy that can maybe get you 5-6 sacks throughout the season? Like, what are the upper reaches of Jake Goldie's game in his second season at Cincinnati?
Yeah, but between those three guys at the top, they're all built the way that you want a linebacker to be built. Like all three of them are the prototype for who you want to have in this room, and I think that they're again bringing that up with the younger guys coming in as well.
I've got a couple guys that are going to be really interesting to me, Aaron. One of them, Brian Sims, redshirt sophomore, he's paid his dues. Has shown some promise in practice. 6'3", 235. It's going to be interesting, especially because you've got those three veterans. But Court Braswell talked about in the article with Keegan, 2 years ago, Dingle limped across the finish line. Last year, Golday limped across the finish line. It's very likely we're going to see more guys shuffling in and out at the linebacker position. Brian Sims is a guy that absolutely looks the part. He looks fantastic when you see him out there in his, in the linebacker kind of hands on the knees, straight up, reading the offense, figuring out what they're going to do. It's time for him, I think, to kind of have a little bit of that breakout so that we know he's going to be a guy that's ready next year to kind of be a leader in that group.
Yeah, and he's certainly seen some reps. His name wasn't unfamiliar last season if you were paying attention to stats or anything like that. So he's definitely been in there. So yeah, I agree. If he's going to continue to see some of that playing time, you'd hope that the big plays eventually start to come as well.
And then another guy that I'm fascinated by, Aaron. Fascinated by.
My guy.
Because he looked like he had all the potential in the world. And I know the previous staff was super, super high on what they thought of his ability. And then he blows out a knee. Then he battles to come back. And then it happens again. And we have not gotten to see this guy yet. Like, not really see him yet. He's a redshirt junior. I mean, if you take medical redshirts, he's probably still a freshman. If he wanted to go that route and stay in college, he could be here a long time. But I've always been a big Sincere Lewis guy. I loved what I saw from him before he got hurt. I really hope he can put it together and make an impact because he's worked his ass off.
He was a guy that I covered when he was still in high school. I covered his commitment, and I've kind of maintained a little relationship there. and always excited to see him when I make it to the field and can mingle with the players if they're not, in pregame, if they're, doing practice or something of that sort. But yeah, that's my guy. I wish nothing but the best for him and hope that he's able to see the field this season, because I feel like he's been chomping at the bit now for 3 seasons. Just waiting.
Yes, this is 4th year in the program.
Yeah.
He played in 1 game his freshman year and got the 4 game. He got the red shirt, and then blew his knee out before the 2nd year, and then blew his knee out again before the 3rd year. I thought he looked pretty good in spring. Like, for a guy that's still, like, mentally, it's not easy to do what he's attempting to do and to come back from blowing an ACL twice. But I thought he looked pretty good. I thought he acclimated himself pretty well to the new system. So I'm hopeful that we get, even if it's just being a badass on special teams.
Yeah.
And like I'm really hopeful for this kid because I love his potential.
And the fact that he's stuck with it and stayed here after Coach Fickle leaves and stays here after not 1 but 2 catastrophic injuries. Those are not easy injuries to necessarily even come back from. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's a guy that you can't help but root for.
If there's going to be a guy that has a breakout and becomes a star, I think we're all in agreement it's Simeon Coleman. 5'11", 225. He is not the biggest dude around, but he is a heat-seeking missile going after the football. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think that this should be fun to see what he can build on from last season. He certainly saw some reps last season, and I think that he's got a ton of potential. Just another guy. I feel like, as far as I don't even know who I would necessarily compare him to from recent guys. I don't. He hits hard.
I don't know that there is a guy to really compare him to. Like, I don't think he plays like Darrell. I don't think he plays like Pace, like some of those guys that have been those undersized, tweener type linebackers. Maybe White in the instinct department, but I think their styles of playing linebacker are a little bit different.
Yeah, because he will tackle you through the ground.
And then I think Monte Whedon's got a chance to be really good as well. I think we overlook Whedon because everybody's so high on Simeon Coleman that we kind of gloss past Whedon. But I think he's got a big future as well.
Well, he made his name last season in special teams. And when you're able to do that, podcasts like ours, who specialize in, gunners and such, we do take notice to things like that. Yeah. So the fact that he did excel so much in special teams, I think, look, I look for him to, again, be a staple on that special teams and just find ways to get on the field because he does make plays.
So, I mean, that, between Golday and Thompson and Dingle as the, top of that page, and then Coleman and Whedon and Sims and Lewis and Gipson, who, is coming in with 3 years remaining. And then you have a couple freshmen in Miles Harrison. I think there's one more that's coming.
Terrell Holcomb.
Terrell Holcomb, yeah. Between those two guys, like it feels like linebacker is in pretty good hands for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and I think they're under a great coach in Court Braswell as well. Anytime everything he's had to say, I've really enjoyed listening to him talk, both on camera and in the written form as well. So great article, Keegan.
Yep. All right, there you go. It's going to wrap it up. We'll see you tomorrow night for the BBP. That's it. That's the nightcap brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!